Hi friends. Okay, this chapter is called Not Talking. Oh, I have a sneeze coming. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Not talking. Often when I'm with Ivan, we don't even bother talking. We just look out at his domain, at the green grass and the crazy babies and the swaggering juveniles and the hardworking females, and we think of nothing and everything. When you've been through the worst with someone, you appreciate the best. That's why sometimes when he says, "Hey, Bob," it's enough for me to say, "Hey, Ivan," and then we just listen to the palm trees rustle and watch the sawgrass sway. Next chapter is Brave. Once when we were still at the mall, I told Ivan how brave I thought he was, the way he put up with everything that had happened to him and never stopped being a good guy. Ivan just looked at me, cocked that big old head of his, nodded a bit. "That's not brave, Bob," he finally said. "That's just knowing what I can't change." "I call it brave," I said. "I call it crazy brave." Ivan held a browning banana up to a light like it was the most beautiful thing he'd ever seen in his long gorilla life. I wondered whether he was going to eat it or draw it. You never know with Ivan. "Seems to me there are lots of ways to be brave, Bob," he said. "A tiny mouse, name of Eek, skittered across his cage floor." "Hey, Eek," said Ivan. "Just checking for crumbs," she said nervously, because she always sounded nervous. "Dibs on all the leftovers," I reminded her. She looked so terrified that I relented. "Over there, behind the tire, old Carrot Top." "Respect, Bob," she said, scampering off. "Take a small creature like Eek," said Ivan. He scratched his chin with the end of the banana. He did that when he was in a philosophical mood. "Maybe brave for a mouse is different from brave for me or for brave for you." He looked at me fondly. "You're the bravest dog I know, pal." "I ain't brave." I chew on my tail, avoiding his gaze. "You are, babe. You are, Bob." Untamed. I think I put Bob and tamed together and got babe. "You are, Bob, untamed and undaunted," said Ivan, and he chomped off a hunk of a banana. He offered the rest to me, but I shook my head. I wasn't feeling hungry. Also, it was mostly just peel. "That's just my shtick, my routine," I hesitated. "I mean, sure, I'm tough compared to, say, Eek, but that's setting the bar pretty low. You're too hard on yourself sometimes, Bob." I met his eyes. He has these dark brown, deep-set, really kind eyes. Eyes that make you want to admit things, confess to your families. Once when I was little, just a pup, I did something. Ivan waited patiently. Ivan is the king of patience. I felt myself dashing into a dead-end tunnel I couldn't escape. I didn't want to go there, not even with Ivan. "Never mind," I yawned. I do that when I'm anxious. "I'm rambling." "Bob," Ivan said, "you okay?" "You know me, Ivan. I'm always okay. Always." I slipped away before he could ask me anything more. The next chapter is called Ruby. "Uncle Bob!" Ruby races over, galump, galump, across the broad field that's part of the elephant domain. She's so cute when she runs, like she's determined not to trip on her trunk. Ruby adores me. I make her laugh. I read the room. I lighten the mood. I gotta admit, I am kind of adorable. When I'm with Ivan, I think, "Pal, we've been through a lot, you and me. We are survivors." When I'm with little Ruby, I think, "Girl, look at you. Hard luck passed, and here you are, so much happier, so loved." Ruby, like Ivan, was plucked from Africa as a baby. She ended up in a circus that went bankrupt, then got shipped off to Max Mall. Ruby was taken in by dear old Stella. When Stella passed away, Ivan stepped in to play, well, elephant dad, I guess. I did my part too, not because I felt like I had to. It just made life easier. Elephant toddlers are a handful. You think humans are bad? Try putting a 200-pound baby elephant in timeout. The next chapter is Ruby's family. Little Ruby seems much more content at the park, surrounded by her new herd. Old and young and in between, they spoil that adorable pachyderm like you wouldn't believe. She deserves every minute of it. Kid had a rough start. Seems elephants hang out in packs of females. Now that she's at the park, Ruby has adoptive sisters and aunts and grandmothers galore. In the wild, the elephant guys head off once they're old enough and do their own thing. Sometimes I lose track of who's who among the elephants because they're always taking mud baths, scrambling their smells. By the way, what kind of animal actually likes baths? Mud, sure. Ivan's art is the next chapter. Oh, you guys remember Ivan's artwork from the last book? "How's it going, girl?" I called to Ruby as she stops near the moat edging the wall. "I had cantaloupe for breakfast, Uncle Rob, and it was yummy, and I took a mud bath." She pauses to take a long breath. "Do you want to hear a new dog riddle, Uncle Bob?" "Of course I do," I say, and I catch Ivan's amused glance. What kind of dog is always on time? Asks Ruby. You got me, Ruby. I'm totally baffled, befuddled, bewildered. What kind of dog? A watchdog, Ruby exclaims. Watchdog? Get it, Uncle Bob? Not bad, Ruby, not bad at all, I say. Ivan, it's going to rain buckets, says Ruby. She dips her trunk in the moat and blows bubbles. I think Ivan is onto something there. Did he show you his new picture? Ruby asks. She grabs a tuft of grass and tosses it in the air. I wish I could see it, but I can't because of that silly wall, but he told me all about it. My pal Ivan is quite the artist, just like Julia. Ivan sits up and nods towards a spot on the wall. Another mud mural, I ask? As any good dog knows, dirt plus water equals mud, and mud means mess, and mess means let's roll in this stuff or maybe dig a hole or 2 or 10. But for Ivan, mud plus a flat surface equals a waiting canvas. I crane my neck. Sorry, guys, the lawnmower. The lawnmower always seems to be mowing my neighbor's yard when I'm recording with you guys. I'm sorry. I crane my neck, edging a bit further down to the top of the wall. Didn't want to draw attention to myself. Hey, nice, I say. I mean, I'm not an art guy. To me, art is a glop of sprayed cheese on a cheese dog with extra grated cheese on top. Still, I've always admired Ivan's work. Ivan begins. No, I say, don't tell me. Let me guess. You always guess wrong, Ivan says. Not always. You thought my palm tree was a dandelion. Art is in the eye of the beholder, I say. You thought my blackberries were giant ants. Kenyani ambles up to join the conversation. And need I remind you that you thought his portrait of me was a chimpanzee with gas? The resemblance was striking, I say. Kenyani glares at me. She glares at me a lot. There's no guessing. We're on to the next chapter. It says, on the subject of chimps. Probably I shouldn't have mentioned the chimp angle. Gorillas aren't as open-minded as dogs. A lot of them have a thing about chimps. Think they're clowns. But when I look at apes and gorillas, seems to me they have a lot more in common than they admit to. Dogs ain't perfect, but I'll tell you one thing where we rule. Tolerance. For us, a dog is a dog is a dog. I see a Great Dane, I say howdy. I run into a punghole, it's glad to meet you. How's it going? Smelled any good pee lately? Go to a dog park and you'll see. We are equal opportunity playful. You sniff my rear, I'll sniff yours. You don't see that with humans, obviously, constantly seeing differences where none exist. All those things like skin color, dogs could care less. You think I won't hang with a Dalmatian because he's spotted? Or a Shar Pei because she's wrinkled? I'm not saying I love every dog I meet. Snickers comes to mind. But I'll always give a dog the benefit of the doubt. Life is short, play is good, and there are plenty of tennis balls to go around. The next chapter is A Very Handsome Dog. Hi, Aunt Kenyani, Ruby calls. Once again, Ruby, says Kenyani, I am not your aunt. I am a primate, and you, my dear, are not. More's the pity. But if Ivan is my uncle, then you have to be my aunt, Ruby declares, says Ivan, pointing to the wall. My painting, Bob? I consider. It looks like a dog? Ruby flaps her ears. I can tell she is trying very hard to stay quiet. A very handsome dog, I add. Is it? It is, Ruby exclaims. It's you, Uncle Bob. Uncle Ivan told me. But who's that? I asked, pointing to another set of mud strokes. I thought you needed a companion, said Ivan. I know you must get lonely at home by yourself all day. It's true, but I've never mentioned that to Ivan. That guy's like a mind reader. I think Snickers and Bob would make a cute couple, says Ruby. I think in disbelief. Bite your trunk. We say bite your tongue. Ruby starts to reply, but her voice is drowned out by a sharp clap of thunder. Storm's getting close, says Kenyani. Ivan, dear, come on. You know how you hate the damp. It's true. He carries around old burlap bags so he won't have to sit on wet grass. Ivan looks at me sheepishly. She knows me so well. Kudzu, one of the baby gorillas, bounds over and leaps onto Ivan's back. Ivan loves all the youngsters, but Kudzu is his favorite. I think she reminds him of his little twin sister, Tag, who died when he was still just a baby. You see Ivan and Kudzu? Cute, right? Ride, Kudzu commands. Julia appears, her backpack at the ready. Bob, she calls, we need to get going. Ride now, Kudzu repeats, yanking one of Ivan's ears. Looks like it's time to go, says Ivan. Good to see you, buddy. Stay dry, okay? Will do, big guy. I turn to Kenyani. Enchanted, as always, my dear? A trumpeting noise cuts through the air. Uh-oh, says Ruby. That's Anna Kella. Akello, the oldest of the elephant ants, lumbers over. Come on, Ruby. Weather's getting bad. Just one more minute, Ruby pleads. Now. But I need to tell Uncle Bob one more riddle. Now, Akello repeats. Nobody ever listens to the littlest elephant, Ruby complains. You can tell me the riddle next time, kiddo, I say, winking at Akello. Ruby brightens. Okay, gotta go or I'll be in big trouble. Love you, Uncle Bob. See you later, Uncle Ivan and Aunt Kenyani. I'm not sure, Kenyani begins, but Ruby is already galloping back to her herd. I love that little Ruby. All right, friends, we are going to stop there. The next chapter is called The Beginning. And we're about to begin on page 136. We're not quite halfway through, but we're getting there. Okay, my friends, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I will see you next week.